This is Robert Card. This is a guy who shot up 2 places in Maine a little while back. And now we know a lot more about his state of mind, where he was at mentally, and why he targeted these 2 locations. You know, the bowling alley he targeted, it was kids' night there. And believe it or not, at the restaurant and bar he targeted, it was deaf cornhole night. And that all plays into this. You're going to learn more about what happened and why it happened at that time as we go further down this rabbit hole. First, let's read this newly released police officer report. This is from his local sheriff's office, and they talk about receiving a complaint from the Maine National Guard asking them to perform, as you can see, a welfare check on Robert Card. Why? Well, as of recent, it has come to the Guard's attention that Card is having psychotic episodes where he's hearing voices that are insulting him, calling him the P word. As you can see right here, this is the word that they were calling him, these voices in his head, among other things. They'll get to some more insults that he was hearing in his head. Now, this may have been a result of, you probably haven't seen this in a lot of news reports, but Robert Card had 2 hearing aids that were recently fitted to him. And after he got the hearing aids, it seemed that the voices in his head got worse. Maybe this was amplifying his inner thoughts more, or maybe it had some impact on what his state of mind was. But once he got that, he started to hear voices calling him these insults. And he's made threats to shoot up the National Guard facility and done various other things. They tried to find him at his residence, but they couldn't. They did find a jet ski in the yard, which he may have used in his getaway after the shootings. Eventually, of course, as you know, they found Robert Card dead in a trailer after searching it several times and not seeing him. So here's what the next report says. Good afternoon. I've attached the text this morning from SSG Hudson in reference to Sergeant First Class Robert Card. Card has been hearing voices calling him the P word, saying he has a small penis, and other insults. This hearing voices started in the spring and has only gotten worse. On July 15th, 2023, here's a particular circumstance that sort of frames this up. While at West Point, Card was hanging out with several other soldiers at the hotel they were staying at. They had gone to a convenience store to get some beer. In the parking lot, Card accused 3 of them of calling him the P word, and he said he would take care of it. Then they ended up following him back to the hotel where he locked himself in the room, and they finally decided to get him out of there and get him into a mental health facility. You can see in that one story alone that this man is somebody who should not have had weapons. And they did their best, they say, to get those away from him. They tried to instill the help of Robert Card's brother to get Robert Card to give up his weapons so they could be locked in the family's gun safe. And the brother had said that he had done that. Obviously, that is not the case because he had multiple weapons when he pulled off these shootings. So on and on it goes about these run-ins where even after he was at the mental health facility, he still kept hearing people calling him the P word, insulting his genitals, etc., etc. And he attacked several of these people, including people that he called his close friends. So here's one time where they actually went to go find him. This says on 9/16/2023, I went to check and see on Robert Card's vehicle, a white Subaru Outback, if it was in his yard on West Road. It was there. Upon making this observation, I opted to have another unit back me up. Another deputy arrived about 45 minutes later. We attempted contact with Card without success. He could be heard moving around inside the trailer but would not answer the door. Due to being in a very disadvantageous position, we decided to back away. So they went away from the scene. Eventually, they did make contact with him, and they talk in here about trying to get Ryan, his brother, to get the guns away from him. And this finally wraps up with, I expressed to Ryan that it was our intention to make sure Robert does not do anything to hurt himself or others. If and when Ryan does communicate with his brother to make his own judgment as to whether Robert needs an evaluation. If he thought that Robert did, call us back and we'll work with him to help facilitate that. It should be known that Ryan told me when Robert answers the door at his trailer, in the past he usually does so with a handgun in his hand and out of view from the person inside. I was later contacted by Ryan. He told me between him and his father, they would work to ensure that Robert does not have access to any firearms. They have a way to secure his weapons. Apparently, they did not. Now, here's what pushed him over the line, according to some of the latest reports. They said that Robert Card had a recent breakup with a girl that he was dating. And him and this woman would go to both the bowling alley and to this restaurant bar. And in fact, as I told you, he had hearing issues. He would participate in the deaf cornhole competitions. So it's thought that maybe Robert Card was trying to go to those locations, hoping that she might be a target, or just trying to target people in general that he thought were calling him these names behind his back. Either way, an absolute tragedy. Red flags everywhere, alarm bells everywhere, and still the man was able to do what everybody around him seemingly knew he was going to do at some point. How do we stop this? Let me know what you think.